I'm Ellen Brown, president of the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. We're part of an international community and humanitarian service organization comprised of 1.4 million members in over 44,000 clubs in more than 200 countries. Rotary leads the world in volunteer service. For more than 112 years, the Rotary Club of Harrisburg has organized impactful local service projects that changes lives and creates hope where it's needed most. Please join us at a Rotary luncheon at the Hilton, service on a Monday, or a Rotary alternate meeting to meet our members who are waiting to welcome you. You can find out more about us at hbgrotary.org. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We hope to welcome you as a member soon.
It's a privilege and an honor to be here. As you know, John loved Rotary. He was an exciting man to live with. There was never a dull day in our marriage. He would make coffee in the morning and instantly share his ideas until I begged him to give me just a few minutes of quiet to wake up before listening to his latest idea, his latest new idea. He had the unique ability to think outside the box and always gave wise counsel to me and to others. Several months before he died, he suggested getting a cat. I was less than enthusiastic. However, I realize now that he was thinking ahead of me, and the sweet cat is now my companion and friend. That is who John was, always thinking of the other person. I am absolutely thrilled with this year's Judson Fellowship awardees, 2 outstanding women. Samara, the CEO and founder of Beehive Affordable Housing Outreach, and Enzi, the CEO at Vista Autism Services. They will enrich Harrisburg Rotary with their presence, energy, and creativity. Thank you.
And now I've asked Bob Celine to join us and tell us about Dr. Judson, the Rotarian.
Thank you, President Ellen. I'm not going to be that short, but I promise I won't go too far over 5 minutes. First, I'd like to thank the board and our idea man at Rotary Club of Harrisburg, Andy, for turning this concept of a tribute to John, Dr. John Judson, into a reality. So thank you, Board of Directors. I am thrilled to meet these 2 new fellowship awardees, apparently aspiring young people. They are to be cherished and nurtured through Rotary. Congratulations to both of you. I'm looking forward to talking to you. I've been asked to summarize a lifetime of this, pardon me, this human being. Dr. Judson was a husband, as you learned, a father, a surgeon, role model, mentor to me, including me, as I entered my year as a president. He was a leader, and he was a doer. You never had to worry that if he had an idea, one of those morning ideas, he wouldn't follow through with it. From mid-June 1997 to July 1999, Dr. John served as the medical director and chief of surgery at the Hospital Albert Schweitzer in Deschapelles, Haiti. While in Haiti, he joined a local Rotary Club, the Rotary Club of St. Mark. This started his lifetime of commitment to service. He then comes, thank you, Peggy, for remembering. He then comes to the Rotary Club of Harrisburg, goes on to serve as a district governor for 7390, and served Rotary International. And ladies, it may sound confusing this morning, but you'll get indoctrinated and you'll understand the importance of this global organization. Dr. John was an active member of this Rotary Club, Jumpin' John, where he served on more committees than I can count. But he was a contributor. He just didn't be there as a face. He was a contributor and an organizer. He served as president of this club and also of the chair of the Harrisburg Rotary Foundation. As a mentor, he led me through my 2 years. He then went on to be that district governor at 7390 and made a lot of changes, all positive. You can learn more about John's decades of service on the club website. Look under news and updates, pull that banner down, look for club stories, and you'll find in the blue section on the right a more detailed story about John. Sure.
Sean's going to show us, right?
Oh, Sean's going to show you. Thank you, Sean. News and updates on the banner of the website. Then pull that down and you'll see club stories. It pops up first. Then there's a little blue button on the side for more information. So let me talk not just about all of the details of his commitments to the practice as a surgeon, but let me tell you a little bit about Dr. John. And this kind of started on his last trip to Haiti. And before we left, where's Bruce? Bruce, I, and a number of other Rotarians from our club and from the Hershey Club were asked to go down and put in a water filtration system. This was John's last trip to Haiti. Anne-Marie said, "Would you keep an eye on John for me?" Now, anybody that has worked with John knows that that was a supreme task. I said, "Sure, I'll keep an eye on Jumpin' John." That name came from your sister, I believe. All right. So after a flight to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and a very humid, hot ride in a van for about 4 hours in Haiti humidity to the base camp of Burrell. It was a Church of God camp used as part of this mission to provide clean water for a village on top of a mountain. So we get there. Within minutes, word gets out. People who had been treated by John, Dr. John, show up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Those looking for medical advice show up. Well, John had his own room. We were in a barracks kind of thing, dormitory, I should say. He had his own room. That was probably the last time I saw him because he was either at the hospital or he was out treating someone. And there's this story about how his trip back may have not been totally legal. So I'm not going to tell that story here. If you want that story, you have to see me. So anyway, all these patients show up. And for those who went up the mountain, we went up on the road. The road was a mountain with no path. We went up in an ATV. John went up a couple times. Mostly he served, and we would see him at lunch, maybe, and at dinner. He was out serving others. We all did attend a Rotary meeting. And on the last day of our service, and I should back up just a little bit, a 500-gallon tank was atop of a cement block created by the Haitians that lived in that community. And it would filter through sand and gravel, and it would develop a bacteria that was beneficial to delivering clean water to another 500-gallon tank below. This prevented or helped prevent young ladies, not the men, not the young men, but the young ladies walking down the mountain to a semi-okay source of water and then carrying it back up in their 5-gallon, on top of their heads. I was going to go down to the well at that bottom of that mountain. That was 6 years ago. I didn't make it. Bruce, I think you stayed with me, and thank you. I'm always indebted. Interestingly, I've been in touch with our coordinators there. The well is still working, the filtration system is still working. The ladies don't have to go down as often. Water would come off the roof of the school that was being built by the well. The source of the water was a previous well installed by some other nonprofit that didn't work. It was spring fed. Now, the quality, I wouldn't drink from it, but when it went through the filtration system, it was clean. I've been in touch with the people a couple months ago that were our coordinators, and that filtration system is still working. So, with all of the agitation in Haiti, if you think this man was inspiring, he was. To many here who knew him personally. His life was service above self. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. I'm glad we all have a chance to get to know the essence of the man behind the fellowships that have been awarded to 2 people this year. So I'd like to briefly ask our 2 Judson Fellows to come to the podium and introduce themselves to you, because they will be integral to the growth of our club next year. Enzi and Samara, would you both come up and say a few words, please?
All right. I missed that. My name is Samara Scott. As mentioned, I am the founder and CEO of a nonprofit here in the city called Beehive, and it's BEA Hive. As I mentioned, my mother is the namesake of the organization, so it's Beehive, and our concept is really about creating community. So if you think about how beehives work, the interaction, the queen bee, the worker bees, that's really where that concept came from us. We have finished 1 rehab and rented that one out, and we have a second rehab that we're working on. We just were recipients of the FAIR grant from PHFA, so really excited about that. The organization's been involved for a little less than 2 years, so that's actually really, really good. We're working hard. I have been a member of Rotary actually since July of last year. So I was the director of HR at the Hamilton Health Center, and now I am fully founder and CEO of Beehive 100%. And so this opportunity will allow me to continue my work with Rotary. I am involved with the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee here as the secretary, and I'll be continuing to work with Mr. Vladimir and the team to advance our efforts throughout this 25, 26, 25, 4 to 25 year. So very excited and grateful for the opportunity.
Hi there, everyone. I'm Enzi Obinelo, and as you heard, I'm the CEO of Vista Autism Services. Been in the role for a little over a year. Apparently, I'm no longer new girl, which is a drag because it was always great when people brought things up. New girl, I don't know. But now I need to know. So it's an honor to have been selected with Samara as a fellow. It's amazing, Anne-Marie, hearing about your husband, Dr. Judson, and a lovely, warm welcoming from all of you, especially Anne-Marie. I got to the door and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, she was so welcome. I was thinking, oh my gosh, I know you in another life. So very sweet. Your husband sounds like a remarkable gentleman. I wish I had met him. And what an awesome way to cherish, embrace, and really honor his memory and work and legacy. I am very new to the state of Pennsylvania. I came from New Hampshire. I'd been in New Hampshire for about 23 years as a vice president of a nonprofit there. It's a story for another time how a year ago I came to be in Pennsylvania. If you ask me, this was not in the cards, you guys. So it's an interesting story I certainly will share. And I know there are a couple of our board members from Vista's board, Carly Lucas and Anthony Worrell, who are board members of Vista. And Vista has been around for a little over 20 years, providing services for children and adults with autism. Many of you who are truly residents of Pennsylvania, I'm sure, quite aware of the remarkable services that come through Vista. And it started as a school with Mr. and Mrs. Mike and Deirdre Jarman started Vista Autism Services and started it basically, as I say, in their kitchen sink. And to 20 years later, now it's got a school, early supports and services. We have adult services, we have employment. I think as I'm now here in Pennsylvania, there are many people like your husband, Anne-Marie, who are disciples of service and doing remarkable work, which, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have known until coming to Pennsylvania. So that is really remarkable. I mean, as my kids said, okay, Mom and Dad, are you guys okay? Isn't it kind of random? Pennsylvania, Hershey, like, what's going on? Are you guys okay? Do we need to intervene? Do you need a kind of thing? Do you need some help? So I will say, now that I've been here a little over a year, it was a great decision. Again, I left a wonderful organization similar to the same levels of passion and service as I'm connected with now at Vista Autism Services. I know people in New Hampshire are always checking in. Is everything okay there? Is everything like, what's going on in Pennsylvania? Are you okay? So I am totally touched that people back home. And the concept of Rotary, especially as you talk about Haiti, I think of things like my parents who immigrated to Canada in the early 60s, 1960s. Me and my siblings, we all were born in Canada, Windsor and Toronto. They had the means to be able to have us travel back to Nigeria. Many immigrants, once they come overseas and part of the diaspora, financial reasons, many reasons, the political climate of their homelands, can't always get their children back. So I really appreciate something like Rotary and hearing about the international work and also the local, because I think oftentimes people think, well, there's stuff happening locally. Why are you going internationally? So it's very important for us as humans and humanity to be able to spread ourselves to help our fellow man, whether they're in our own neighborhood or across the seas. So Rotary, the service and work that all of you do is a remarkable thing, and I'm very honored and blessed to be part. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. I know that next year our club will be enriched with your presence, your ideas, and your energy. We have one more thing we need to wrap up from this year, and I'm going to ask Shar Magaro to come to the podium now and introduce our Science Fair awardee. This is the winner of the Capital Region Science Fair, Casey Caro.
So this year's Science Award winner is Casey Caro. She is here with her mother, Danny. They are from the Wilkes-Barre, Scranton area, so they traveled to come here. I was surprised that this award, has that broad of a breadth of award attendees and people who are entering their science award, their projects. And she is from Delaware Valley High School, and she is, no, wait, excuse me. She's from Berwick's High School, and she'll be attending Delaware Valley University, studying landscape architect. Unfortunately, Alex and I, neither of us could do the judging this year because we had previous engagement. It was a very small, short window, 2 hours in the morning. So we were really lucky because Matt Staub jumped in for us, and he did the judging of the environmental projects that were submitted to this large science award ordeal that happens every year. And I'm very grateful to him because he chose Casey, who is her project is focusing on the mycorrhizae and Kentucky bluegrass, correct? And that word mycorrhizae doesn't really strike a tone for most people, but it does me, because in my work in the rainforest, and then afterwards, when I would do public speaking about preserving the rainforest, it always came down to mycorrhizae, because that is the sole reason there is biomass on our planet, because it's a symbiotic relationship between fungus and plant life. So thank you for that, Matt, for selecting that particular project, because it really flipped my skirt, as you could say. And I'm really excited that Casey is here to explain something that really connects all of us to life on this beautiful planet that we share.
Hi, I'm Casey. So my project was on inoculating Kentucky bluegrass seed mix with mycorrhizal fungi to resist the spreading of invasive mugwort. So I became interested in this because last summer and this summer I worked at one of our local landscaping companies called Native Creations. This company is run by Judson, and they're a landscaping business who use only native plants in all of their projects. So while I was here, Justin preached to me all the time about how invasive plants take over landscapes and they push out all of the beneficial native plants growing there. And you can see that in this picture here. This is a picture of the side of a mountain. Japanese knotweed took over this mountain and pushed out all of the native plants growing here. Another example of this is mugwort. It takes over in roadsides and agronomic settings or any other landscapes, and this is why I focused on mugwort for my project. So often I found that chemical fertilizers are used to get rid of it. People spend so much money on these chemical fertilizers, but they don't realize the negativities that can have. Chemical fertilizers can affect the health of humans, the health of the environment, and the health of our atmosphere. If drinking water is affected by these and humans drink the water, it can lead to diseases in them. and they emit greenhouse gases such as methane, carbon dioxide, and nitrous oxide into the environment. Along with this, when used continuously on soils, they can deteriorate the soil and then harm the native plants that are growing in the soil. Because of this, I wanted to look into a natural alternative, and I found arbuscular mycorrhizal fungi. Mycorrhizal fungi is a completely natural fungus already found in most soils, and it forms a symbiotic relationship with 90% of plant species on the planet. This fungi attaches to the roots of the plants and extends thread-like strands called hyphae that create a larger surface area for the roots and draw in extra nitrogen and phosphorus from the soil and exchange this with the plant from carbon it creates from photosynthesis. So because of this, I studied a bunch of different research studies, but I found that in a lot of them, they only compared one kind of plant with mycorrhizal fungi, and none of them really talked about invasive plants and how the benefits of mycorrhizal fungi would affect the growth of invasive plants. Along with this, none of them compared the results of using the fungi with a chemical fertilizer. So this led me to my research question of will inoculating Kentucky bluegrass specifically with mycorrhizal fungi resist the spreading of invasive mugwort? To do this, I created 3 different treatment groups, each split into 2 different subgroups. I had 18 pots total of Kentucky bluegrass. Each treatment had 6 pots in them. For example, I had a topsoil group with 6 pots of Kentucky bluegrass, and 3 of these pots would then later receive mugwort sprouts. The same occurred for a chemical fertilizer treatment and a mycorrhizal fungi treatment. I set these 18 pots under grow lamps just to get them to grow faster, and I let them grow for 3 weeks before I added in any mugwort to them. Here you can see I had mugwort sprouts grown in water just to test if they would actually grow, because I collected them from outside and I wanted to make sure that they would grow before I actually planted them. So I let them germinate in the water for a while, and then I split it into 9 even groups and planted those in the pots with the Kentucky bluegrass. I let those grow for another 3 weeks, but during the whole 6-week period, I measured the heights of the grasses with a ruler and strings. I used 2 pieces of string to create crosshairs in each of the pot, and at this crosshair, I measured 5 pieces of grass so I could get the average heights. But while I was doing this, I realized that in the chemical fertilizer pots, there were several strands that were a lot higher than the rest of it, creating an outlier for my project. And it kind of skewed my data, as you can see. The top 2 lines are the chemical fertilizer, and this was because of those outliers. It skewed my data, and it made this not a very significant result for me because it wasn't very accurate. But for the main focus of my project, I pulled all of the mugwort sprouts that I found out of the soil, and the photo on the right shows all the mugwort sprouts I found in just 1 pot of chemical fertilizer, whereas in the other treatments, in total, in the 3 topsoil pots, I only found 19 sprouts. In the fungi pots, I only found 7 sprouts, but in the chemical fertilizer pots, I found 143 sprouts. So that was my most important data, and I made this visually easier to see with the bar graph. So you can see the blue bar represents the fertilizer, and it's significantly greater than both the fungi and topsoil bars. So this proved my main hypothesis and filled the gap that I was trying to find. But after I found this, I realized there was still something else that I could study. So I pulled all the grasses out of the soil and I compared the roots. So the picture on the left shows a picture of one of my mycorrhizal fungi pots, and I was able to pull all of it out by holding the very end of it because that's how closely packed the roots were together. Whereas the photo on the right is a photo of the topsoil. So it still came out as a clump, but it wasn't as firmly packed together as the fungi was. Here is a picture of the chemical fertilizer treatment that I used. The roots you can see are only about 1 inch or 2 long at best, and they don't look near as healthy as the roots for both the fungi and the topsoil. You can see that better here. The fungi is significantly better than both the fertilizer and the topsoil. The topsoil still had a pretty solid clump of roots, but even compared to the fungi like that, the fungi did so much better than both of them did. But to test that statistically, I put them in a dehydrator and I dried them to a constant biomass. And I compared these biomasses between them using a t-statistic with the equation here. And I first compared topsoil and fungi treatments, and I resulted in a t-statistic of -0.63 and a p-value of 0.2782. This p-value is much greater than 0.05 since I was comparing them at the 0.05 level. So it proved that between the topsoil and the fungi, the difference between them was not statistically significant, meaning that they grew relatively the same, and I couldn't really say that one did better than the other. But when I compared the fungi and the fertilizer, I got a T statistic of 4.412 and a p-value of 0.003472. This p-value was much less than 0.05, proving that the fungi did significantly better than the fertilizer did at the 0.05 level, and even more proved my hypothesis that the fungi would work better than the fertilizer did at both invasives and just the growth of the plant in general. But while I was doing this, I had a few limitations to it. The space that I had to perform I performed this experiment during the winter months, so I would have liked to do it outside in future research, just so that I could study how the mycorrhizal fungi and invasive plants would work in a real world scenario. And I was also on a bit of a time crunch, so I only had about 6 weeks to actually let the plants grow. I feel like it would have been beneficial to have longer for that, just to see if there was more invasive pop-up or anything like that. But in future research, I would also like to use a different invasive plant and a different variety of mycorrhizal fungi, since I only focused on one in this, but they could have different effects on different invasive plants and different fungi. But this study, I hope, could be beneficial for farmers, landscapers, or homeowners, or anybody who knows anything about chemical fertilizers. It's becoming a more well-versed topic, but there are still some people out there who are unaware of the negativities of chemical fertilizers and the benefits of mycorrhizal fungi. So I hope that this could open the eyes of any farmers or anybody who utilizes these things, and hopefully stop using chemical fertilizers one day altogether. Thank you.
Wow. That is amazing. We are pleased that you are here, Casey. Thank you, Mom, for making sure that she made it here safely. Because we're running a little close on time today, there won't be time to ask Casey questions now, but please feel free to speak to her after the meeting. And Casey will be receiving a $500 check from the Rotary Club of Harrisburg for this scholarship award. Okay, I guess I have to do this. As we gather to mark the end of another remarkable year for the Rotary Club of Harrisburg, I'm filled with pride and gratitude for all that we have accomplished together. This year has been marked by challenges, growth, and incredible achievements. First and foremost, I want to recognize the members of our board of directors who help keep the organization running through choppy waters and calm seas. Chris Baldridge, Megan Bachmore, Vlad Bofi, Sean Ang, Bob Geiger, Wendell Hoover, Brian Jones, Amy Kunis, Tony Marks, Brian Estello, Andy Rebuck, and Scott Stevens. Thank you all. There's a saying that goes, the days go slow, but the years fly by. This couldn't be truer as the Rotary year comes to an end. In line with the four-way test, I must acknowledge that this year brought its share of challenges. Our treasurer resigned on the first day of the new Rotary year. We parted ways with our club administrator, and our club secretary also resigned. Furthermore, 3 of our past presidents from 2020 up to the beginning of this Rotary year resigned, and a 4th was unable to stay engaged. In the wake of COVID, we faced a significant gap in continuity and direction. But as we all know, where there are challenges, there are solutions. And I want to say that I relied heavily upon past presidents Janice Black, Betty Hungerford, Andy Rebuck, and Ginny Roth as I had questions about how things should proceed this year. Without needing to be prompted, Brian Estella volunteered to step into the role of treasurer and immediately address the tangled state of our finances. He methodically unraveled the confusion, establishing reliable financial records, and provided a clear foundation for identifying our shortfalls and developing solutions. Instead of undertaking the arduous task of searching for a new club administrator, we engaged a management company to provide much-needed administrative support amidst this prevailing confusion. We found the perfect solution by engaging Jean Troy of Daza Development. With her outstanding organizational skills and her experience as a member and past president of the the Mechanicsburg North Rotary Club, she seamlessly integrated into our culture and became a part of our team with no training needed. This approach also brought significant cost savings as we avoided the need to engage in a payroll company, pay unemployment benefits, and handle the potential hassle of terminating an employee if they did not prove capable or reliable. I'm also grateful to have been able to rely upon Amy Kunis, who stepped into the role as club secretary. With her previous experience serving on the board of directors, she capably filled the position, providing valuable guidance and support. Amid the prevailing confusion, we addressed the pressing need to relocate the offices of the Rotary Club of Harrisburg back to the city, resulting in significant convenience and savings. Boxes upon boxes, Scott can tell you, boxes upon boxes of records were organized and condensed, eliminating a great deal of clutter. The office furniture was donated to several local nonprofit organizations who gratefully accepted this assistance. And thanks to the hard work of Andy Rebuck's team at Lamar Advertising, who volunteered to assist and cheerfully endured the grueling task of traversing 16 steep steps with each load, we are now comfortably situated in a space we sublet from the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. And before we left our prior offices, President-elect Scott rented a carpet shampoo machine and made sure that everything was spotless. Despite these challenges, the Rotary spirit remained unshaken, and the cogs of our organizational wheel continued to turn with resilience and determination. Each member's dedication and commitment ensured that our mission moved forward, overcoming obstacles and exemplifying the true essence of Rotary's service and fellowship. Let us now shift to focus on the remarkable outcomes achieved through our collective efforts. Everyone's dedication in overcoming challenges and excelling in their respective roles not only stabilized our organization, but also allowed us to surpass expectations. In the category of membership, there were 15 resignations, and we lost one valuable and venerable member, Harold Hurwitz, known as Boxes. But we also gained 22 new members for a net membership growth of 6 new members for the Rotary Club of Harrisburg. These new members are the lifeblood of our organization, ensuring its growth, adaptability, and continued service above self. Under the leadership of Megan Bachmore as chair of the membership committee, we welcome 22 new members this year, as I said. I'd like to thank Dominic Collardo, Jennifer Diaz, Lorian Reese-Mahay, Samara Scott, Sam Sweet, Matthew Holliday, Lauren Marinelli, Dennis Burge, Christy Thompson, Laura Kennedy, Deborah Scoop Massat, Charles Sweeter, Lori Mader, Catherine Paradise, Mary Oliveira, Daniel Algar, John Zapataki, Nick Mucci, Eric Haggerty, Sarah Combs, and Rachel Hutton to our organization. We also gained a new corporate member. Thanks to Brian Jones, Fulton Bank became a new corporate member. Thank you, Brian. One of the highlights of this year has been our continued focus on community service. We have successfully completed numerous projects that positively impacted the lives of many in Harrisburg. From our efforts to support the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank to our initiatives in education and youth development, we have shown that Rotary is a force for good in our community. Service on a Monday, organized by Megan Bachmore, had us volunteering at Reservoir Park, the Boys and Girls Club of Harrisburg, and Susquehanna Service Dogs. I'm particularly proud of the impact we've had on the youth of the Harrisburg and Steelton High Spire schools. We have not only provided financial support, but also offered guidance and encouragement to help young people achieve their dreams through our scholarship programs, student and teacher of the quarter recognition, and mentorship through the four-way speech contest and the youth community development team. The YCDT initiative had a record number of 40 students enrolled this year. With the capable leadership of Andy Phillips and Brad Gephardt and assistance from Chris Baldridge and Marion Alexander, the students selected an after-school support area of their focus and created an RFP and evaluated 9 applications. The students raised money towards the grant, and with the support of all of you and Peggy Grove, I might add, they were able to award a $5,000 grant to the Boys and Girls Club of Harrisburg. 4 students, 2 from the Harrisburg School District and 2 from Steelton High Spire, were awarded $2,000 scholarships each for college tuition. There were 22 applications, and Amy led the evaluation with assistance from Carolyn Dumaresque, Mike Eby, and Betty Hungerford. The resources from these initiatives all come from our annual pancake breakfast. This year marked the 25th anniversary of this comprehensive event under the leadership of Andy Rebuck, Karen Paris, and Marion Alexander. And this year we raised $25,000 as a result of that. I also want to highlight the exceptional quality of our weekly programs, which form the backbone of all of our membership meetings. Ryan Unger, Dr. Ski, and Susan Anthony curated a high-profile and remarkably informative lineup of speakers this year. I know of no other organization that can boast such an impressive roster. The importance of our speakers this year cannot be overstated. We were enlightened, inspired, and educated on critical issues facing our community. From the executive director of the Broad Street Market, who spoke to us just days after the devastating fire, to the retiring president of Penn Live, who made her farewell speech to the community here at our Rotary Club, and to the powerful discussions that resulted from a presentation on the discarded souls of Harrisburg's forgotten Black community. Each presentation has broadened our understanding and deepened our commitment to service. Our club has also embraced innovation, and adaptability in the face of the ongoing challenges brought by the pandemic. We have navigated the complexities of hybrid work schedules and shifting business landscapes, finding new ways to connect and to serve. This adaptability has allowed us to continue our mission despite the obstacles, and I am grateful for your flexibility and resilience. Looking ahead, we have exciting plans for the coming year. After polling our members, we discovered a strong preference to move our meetings out to a location outside of downtown. The post-COVID work environment with hybrid schedules and fewer downtown businesses has significantly impacted our attendance. Consequently, we have reevaluated our meeting location and to better serve our members' needs and preferences, I'm pleased to inform you that the Board of Directors voted to move our meetings to the Grass Conference Center on North 2nd Street in Harrisburg. This location is easily accessible, has free on-site parking, and a modern AV equipment, and will easily accommodate a growing membership. As we reflect on the past, it's important to acknowledge that our partnerships have been instrumental in our success. I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Hilton Harrisburg for their many years of exceptional service and hospitality. Our decision to explore new meeting locations was not taken lightly, and we truly value the partnership we have had here since 1990, when the hotel opened. We hope to revisit this relationship sometime in the future. Lastly, I want to thank each and every one of you for your unwavering commitment to our club's mission and values, your passion for service, and your willingness to give your time and your talents have made a tangible difference in our community. Whether it's through our various service projects, the pancake breakfast, YCDT, or our weekly meetings, your contributions have been invaluable. The Rotary Club of Harrisburg is more than just a club. I think it's a family. Together we achieve great things, and I'm confident that the coming year, under the leadership of Scott Stevens, will bring even more opportunities for us to make a difference. Thank you for all that you do, and here's to another year of fellowship, service, and making a positive impact on Harrisburg. Thank you. I'm now going to remove the president badge. And next meeting, I'll put back on the regular name badge. So. So in closing, our next meeting will be on July 8th at the Grass Conference Center. Make sure you join us as we hand the gavel over to President-elect Scott Stevens. We'll discover Scott's plans to ignite, inspire, and lead us in fellowship and service throughout an upcoming Rotary year. This meeting is now adjourned.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say.